So again, come to our PyA channel, and today we are going to do a full SQL analysis. Okay, and the dataset we use here is IBM HR Analytics Attrition Dataset, and the link will be given in the caption. Okay, so here our first question is, why are employees leaving the company? That's what attrition means. Okay, and this is what your entire analysis should answer. So in IBM, there are people leaving the company, and we need to analyzing the situation, why they are doing that. Okay, that's our question before we go into further. And first of all, we need to assign the location of our file, and then we call duckdb. After that, we start. Okay, now we are going to work with the real data set, and we downloaded the data set from Kaggle and placed it in our project folder. Okay, you just place anywhere, but just give the cd and location. Okay, just allot the location, that's fine. And this video is really for intermediate level people. Okay, and if you are too basic in SQL, just don't watch this. Watch the previous videos and get an idea or the overview about SQL. Okay, and then we downloaded the HR dataset from Kaggle and we placed it. So first let's preview the data to understand why we are working with it. Okay, and I downloaded the dataset in zip file and we extracted that. I hope all you know that. And the file is in CSV format, so we need to make it into a table. First of all, let's see the file. For that, I just select star from the file name. Here the file name is HR employee.attrition and CSV. Give a limit of 5 or 10. Let's give a 10. Okay, so we get to this much details about that. Okay, 10 rows and 35 columns, and this shows the first few rows. We can see like columns like attrition, department, job role, monthly income, years at company, and these are important for analysis. Okay, you can see this, right? Age, attrition, years since last promotion, all this. So before we code, now instead of reading the CSV file again and again, we convert it into a table. So firstly, we got a CSV file and we can't work with that. We need a table. So now we are going to create that. So create table and use HR data as select. We can use both uppercase and lowercase, but here we are following the standard format. Start from the file name CSV. Okay. Now we create the table and named it as HR data as we just copied this line. Okay, select star from the CSV file name. So the data is created. We got a table HR data. So to confirm that, let's show tables, and yes, the table is created and the table name is HR data. Okay, now we are going to use HR data like a normal SQL table, like we used to do in our videos. Okay, and before analysis, we should know how big our data is. Okay, our data set is might be simple or tiny. We need to know how much columns, rows, all that are there. So for that, let's select count and star from we can also name this as total employees from HR data. Okay, so there are about 1470 entries. Okay, this shows us how many employees are in the data set, and we got the result as 1470. Now we need the attrition overview. Okay, before that, let's just describe the data. So we know the names of all the columns. Okay, so there are age till years with current manager. So this much columns are there, and 35 rows are there. Okay, so these are the column names. From this, we need to understand which one we need to take it from. Okay, which one is useful for us. And moving back, we are going to do the rest part, like attrition overview. As we say, attrition is like people leaving the company. So now we are going to check how many employees left vs stayed. Okay, so as we know, attrition means people leaving. Okay, so let's group people by attrition to check how many employees left and stayed. Okay, for that, what we do, we just select the column name, that's attrition here, and then we need to count how many of them he's left the company or not. And let's say it as total from HR data. Also let's group it by attrition. Okay, so true is 237, false is 1233, and this shows how many stayed and how many left, and this is the starting point of our analysis. Okay, so 237 left and 1233 stayed. That's how attrition is counted. And now we convert this into a percentage, because business cares more about the percentage and the rates. Okay, so how can we convert it into a percentage? So in this situation we use a case and when. Okay, case is like comparing. Okay, we talk about that. So let's select count, and inside that we are using case when attrition is, let's say, equal to yes, then 1 end. Okay, let's use a star, and that star shows the multiplication 100.0 divided by the count. Okay, and as it's named as attrition rate. And we need to also add from where we are doing it. It's from HR data. So it is 16. Okay, so this gives us the percentage of employees leaving, and this is a key KPI. Okay, maybe this is new to you, but let's just see that it is a percentage, it's a rate that how many of them are leaving. Okay, if attrition is yes, it will then end, and it will be multiplied by 100 and divided by the count, so the total employee count. Okay, and this is how we find the key, that is KPI. Okay, all right, I know we are new, new to this thing, so let's look our attrition rate. Okay, so think of it's like a health check for our whole workforce. Okay, and this query calculates the percentage of people who have left the company and compare it to the total headcounts. Okay, and there are many people left the company or just stayed. So if the number is low, it means our company is sticking around, and if it is starts to climb, it's a major red flag and a signal that we may have an issue with the company culture, pay, or burnout that we need to fix immediately. That's why we are doing our attrition analysis. We need to understand how many of them left in the attrition rate, and if the count is increasing, that's really gonna affect the company totally. Because of that, we need to take decision. That's why we are changing it to a attrition rate percentage, so that we can work with it. Okay, it like a bottom line, it tells us exactly how we are going to keep our best talent in the building. Okay, if the best candidates, best employees are leaving the company will lose its prestige. Not only that, it's successful success percentage. Okay, so that's why we done this process. Okay, and this session is gonna a little bit having a longer duration. Okay, so we talk about KPI, right? So a KPI, or a key performance indicator, as a GPS for our business. Okay, and in any company there are thousands of data points moving at once. So a KPI ignores the noise and focus only on the numbers that actually matters for your success. It's like the most important thing, and it's like dashboard in your car, or you don't need to see every wire under the hood, but you definitely need to know your speed and the fuel level. So that dashboard is really necessary. It's a key. And in this case, in HR attrition, is a top tier KPI. It is a fuel gauge and for our talent. If the needle starts dropping too fast, we know we have got a leak that needs fixing before the engine start. So that's how KPI works. We need to fix it before it getting worse, or before it get totally fall. Okay, So now we learned about what is attrition rate and what is KPI. It's like key performance indicator. So in interviews, people the HR ask these questions like KPI, what, why it's needed, all this. And here the KPI is our attrition rate. Okay. Now we are going to check attrition by department. For that, what do we need to select if we are going to check attrition by department? Think for a moment, and I know you will definitely gonna find the answer. So if we want the attrition by department, definitely we are going to choose department, and we are selecting department first. So here you can see there are so many columns. So here the department, and it's just look after its spelling and all, because sometimes it may just be in a uppercase or just lowercase or mixed caps. Okay, so we just need to know the column name and all. For that we use describe before. So now we want to understand where the problem is happening, which department is losing more employees. For that we are selecting the department, and we count the star as total employees. So we said we are counting star as total employees. Now we are going to submit, and the case is here when the attrition is that equals to yes, then let's say 1, else let's say 0 and end. Okay, here we give a condition, we just k-vote. If attrition is yes, then we say 1, or else it send us 0, and we are naming it as attrition count. Okay, and from where we are taking it from? We are taking it from HR data, and we are also grouped by department. So if there are some total and we have more than one column, we definitely gonna use the group by, because we need to group it by department. Okay, so why do we get this error? It's just because of the comma we forget. Okay, just add that too, it will be fixed. And here we get, so here is the total employees, and there we get the attrition rate, I mean the count. So research has 961 and the attrition rate is high there. About sales that are 446 and attrition rate is 92, and human resources 63 and attrition rate is 12. That's the lowest. And this shows the total employees per department and how many left from there. Now we can identify high risk departments. We can also see it, right? We can understand that research and development is having the highest attrition rate, more than sales and human resources. And we can also consider human sales, because 92 comparing to 446 is a good amount. Okay, and 961 and 133 are literally a small value. So we understand about all that. Now we check if salary is a factor. Are people leaving because they are unpaid, or they are not paying well, they are underpaid? Okay, so first of all we find which department is having the highest attrition rate. Definitely it's sales, not research and development. And now we are going to find if it is because of their salary. So what all we need? I talk about the salary and the attrition rate. So here if we get their salary scale, and there is nothing like salary, but you can see something as monthly income. Yeah, that's what we are looking for. We are looking for a monthly income. We are looking for the salaries, the monthly, what how much they paid per month. Okay, so for that let's select, we are selecting attrition, we definitely need that. And then we are going to average the monthly income. So monthly income, and then let's say this as average salary. Okay, from HR data, and let's group this by attrition. Okay, so here also we had a mistake. Whenever you count, we need to add the comma. Yeah, most of the times we just don't add it. So here we get false and true. It's 68322 and 4787. So if the employees left having lower salaries, their salaries could be a reason. And here we can see the false is 68322. So the salary is the reason, but the salary is not only the reason. Okay. Now we talk about the salary. It may be because of their experience. If they have no experience, if they are freshers, they will be getting not much salary. They will be paid in a low scale. So let's go through that too and see it. So here, if you see experience, we may not get the word experience. So read all the column names and understand what we need to do. Okay. And here you see something like years at company. So how many years are there at that company? So that's what we need here. Okay. So we are selecting the years at company and then we count star as total, and let's take it from HR data, and then let's group it by let's group by years of company and order by years of company. Okay, so we got a long data. Okay, so this helps us to see the patterns. Not new employees are leaving quickly or long term employees are leaving quickly. Okay, so the years of the company is 0, then 44, or from this the long term, it's not the long term, it's not basically the years, that's our perspective. Still we are not confirmed that it's because of years of the company. Okay, we will finalize it at the end. Okay, now let's analyze the attrition by job role. We talk about the salary, we talk about the years of the company, years at the company, and now we are going to talk about the job role. Is that because of that? So let's select, as I said, job role will be under this. Okay, so here we are taking job role. Let's select job role and let's count it, and then say as total and sum it with a case when attrition equals yes. If it's yes, then let's say 1, else let's say 0, ends. And let's say it as attrition count. Okay, from HR data group by, we need to do by job role. Oh god, I'm just skipping the commas. So it's the error shows here is in the place of end. Okay, so it's end, not ends. Okay, so this is how we fetch errors, how we correct our errors, debug it, and we get research scientist, manufacturing, sales representative, and so more, and the total amount and the attrition rate. So we need to find the percentage and find which has the highest, all that. But for now, this tells us which role has the highest attrition. And now we are going to combine the multiple factors for deeper insights. We talk about department, job role, and then the experience, all that. So now we are going to combine all that to find what is the real reason, which is the highest chance of people leaving the company. For that we are selecting, and I need to select, first of all I need department, then we need a job role, then we need average of monthly income, and we are naming it as average salary. Okay, then we need to submit, use case, and when attrition equals yes, then let's say 1, else let's 0 and end, and let's name it as attrition count. Okay, so we get all this and we are taking it from HR data and group by department and job role. Okay, so we get the department, we get the job role, average salary, and the attrition count. So this gives us a powerful view. the department, job role, salary, and attrition. And now we can identify the exact problem areas. And as we see here, this is our summary table, and you can see all these laboratory technician, sales manager, human resource has a list, I think. So we group the data by department, job role, and we calculate the average salary, number of employees who left, that is attrition count. So what this table shows, each row represents a specific job role inside a department and how much they earn and how many people left. So as we see here, the department and it's their job, and this is their average salary and how many left in this job row. Now the real part, finding the problem. So the laboratory technician has an average salary of 32K, and the attrition rate is 62. And while we come to the research scientist, here we have a research scientist. The average salary is also almost the same, and the attrition rate is 47. And when it comes to the sales representatives, that's here, the average salary is almost 2626, and the attrition rate is 33. So here we can clearly see a pattern. The roles with lower salary have higher attrition, and this suggests that the employees may be leaving because due to low pay, because they are having a low pay. And look at this, the manager salary. Here we get the manager salary. It's almost 16,986 and almost 17 to 18K. The attrition rate is really shorter. Okay, and here you can see the human resource. Here that's 12, and also the research director, and here you can see the research director with 16K. The attrition rate is 2. Okay, so these roles are high paying salaries roles, and almost no one is leaving. This tells us these are positive and stables. These positions are stables, and because they are getting a good amount of salary, they are just not leaving the company. So we talk about the least and the highest. Now let's talk about the medium salary, that are sales executive people. Okay, they are sales executives have about 7,000, around 7,000, and the attrition rate is 57. So this role has a decent salary but still have high attrition. So here salary may not be the only reason. Other factors like work overload or stress could be affecting these roles. So from this analysis, we can identify the main problem as employees is having a low paying roles are leaving more. As you see from our results, we can also this order it by attrition rate. So let's order by attrition count. Let's say this. So from here you get the least attrition rate and the highest. It comes this way, and from this we understand employees in low paying roles are leaving more, and high paying roles are almost stable, and some mid level roles are having attrition, but it's maybe different factors other than the salary. So the company needs to focus on improving the salary for low level roles and also analyzing work conditions for mid level roles. So maybe people are having a lot of stress while working, so employees consider both the salary and their work condition and their environment, all this. So we are not just looking at numbers, we are connecting salary, job role, and attrition to understand why employees leaving. And now this table is powerful, but it is not easy to understand visually. It's just like a bunch of numbers, bunch of columns. So next we will take this data into Tableau and build a dashboard to clearly show high risk roles, salary impact, and attrition patterns. So this is where SQL ends and data started to tell the stories begins, the whiz, and we can call it as the visualization phase. Okay, so we need to save it, right? So we need to save the file. So now we are going to save these results so we can reuse it later and connect it to our whiz table, the whiz app, that's Tableau. Okay, for that I'm going to create a table. Let's create table and name it as attrition summary, and from where we are taking it from as we are going to select department, the job role. We don't want every columns, so we are selecting it particularly. And the average monthly salary. That's we are using the monthly income column. And we name it as average salary. And then let's sum it with case and when the attrition, here we just attrition, that is equal to yes. Then let's say 1, else let's say 0, end. And then we are naming it as attrition count. Okay, we are taking it from HR data and group by department and job role. We need to just go through again if there are any issues. Okay, so that's our thing. And what happened here is we just missed a comma again. So average salary and add a comma here also. And as you see here, we can understand that by seeing this where the issue is, and we can find that. So I use the job role as a E with it, so let's just delete that too. So we created the table attrition summary, and this create a new column called attrition summary. And now we are not going to write again and again, because we don't have to write the query again, because we already got it and we named it as the attrition summary. So let's select star from attrition summary, and yeah, we got it. So we got the table, but we need it in a export manner. So let's copy that to attrition summary to let's name it as attrition summary CSV. Okay, dot CSV, and let's use header and delimiter. So let's add the header, comma, delimiter, and a comma. It's like comma separator values, right? CSV means. So we added all this, and just check if something is not right or not. Okay, if it's not right, it's clearly fine, because it happens, and that's how we learn. So we actually don't need a comma here. So we copied the attrition summary to attrition summary.csv, and this can be exported to a CSV file, and it can be directly used in Tableau. Okay, so we got everything we need actually. And if you look at your space, the location, you can see this file. Okay, I'll show you. So what you're seeing here is attrition summary. Okay, so you can see it, right? We created that and we got it. Okay, now we need it to make the Tableau. Okay, we are doing the full project, so we are moving again.